Hey there and welcome to Creative You Art Lesson Crates. I'm Karen and I will be your instructor for today. Welcome to the Jiminy Cricket lesson. I love Jiminy Cricket. He's a wonderful little character. He plays the voice of reason for Pinocchio. He and the Blue Fairy help guide Pinocchio into being a real boy and try and help him out of sticky situations. Now, Jiminy Cricket was originally created by Carlo Collodi for his book, The Adventures of Pinocchio, which Disney ended up turning into a feature film in 1940. Many people and characters, such as Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, use his name in the movies instead of an exclamation of Jesus Christ. They will say, Jiminy Cricket. And my daughter loves to say, Jiminy Cricket. So I do want to just point out that he is a fun-loving character. And he is not a villain. He's the voice for the Wishes fireworks at Disney World. He's become kind of the voice of Disney now that Walt Disney is no longer around. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to look at the supplies that have been provided to you. These are the supplies that you need for this project, not for your second project that comes in your kit. First of all, you have your information sheet. I basically just told you pretty much what's on here. The artwork provided are samples of student artworks, and sometimes you'll find on our papers we have celebrity artwork, we'll have famous artwork, we'll have amateur artwork. So this is just to give you some ideas of what we're going to be creating. We're going to be reproducing this adorable little portrait of Jiminy Cricket. We also have our paper. Now you're going to notice that our paper is very thick. It is a cardstock. We want thick paper whenever we do art. Unless it specifically says to use a thin paper, we're not going to. You're never going to get thin paper except for sketching, because I feel as an art instructor it's my duty to teach you the proper way of doing art, and in art it is always important to use better quality supplies. It's kind of like soda. Think of it that way. If you buy the generic soda, it's not going to taste as good as Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So the same thing with art supplies. If you buy the generic versions, they're not going to be as good. This is the Michaels brand of drawing and sketching pencils. This is an excellent kit. I find that Artist Loft for a student is a really good brand to stick with when it comes to creating your art. If you become really involved in art and you really want to invest in some supplies, of course you can use Prismacolors and Copics and things like that. But for what we do, this is a really good brand to use. Now you're going to notice that our kit comes with a variety of pencils. We have regular pencil colors, and then you're going to notice we have watercolors, and then we have our art pencils. Now watercolor pencils color like a pencil color, but if water is added to them, it will blend and spread just like a watercolor. So I'm going to show you how to do it as a pencil color, but then convert it to a watercolor if you prefer. If you want to keep it a pencil color, just like the sample, use the pencil colors. If you want to do the watercolor version, use the watercolors. And the way to tell is it's written on the pencil right there. You see that? Watercolor. See right here, it does not say watercolor. That's how you can tell if it's a watercolor pencil or a regular pencil. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pause this video. We're going to go ahead and open up our packaging. We're going to clear our space away of any external distractions, and I do recommend, since this is a dry media right now, meaning we're not using wet paint or anything like that, I do recommend keeping any drinks or bowls of water or any of that kind of stuff out of the way, because if it spills, it could ruin the picture. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I'd like for you to go ahead and get your area nice and set up, and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, and welcome back. So you have this kit in front of you, and you're looking at it going, okay, well, obviously she's talked about the watercolor pencils, and she's talked about the pencil colors. What are these up here? Well, the first three, they say hard, medium, and soft. These are charcoals. Hard, medium, and soft determines how dark the charcoal will draw on your artwork. Now, we're not using the charcoal in our lesson today, so you may just set those aside or just ignore them on the kit. Eventually we will use them in projects. It's really good to hang on to. Charcoals are very expensive, so definitely hang on to those suckers for our next project. But feel free to play around with them. Just know that the charcoal inside of the pencil may break easily, so as you sharpen it, it may break and you pull it out. So those pieces that you pull out, you can still use, just teeny tiny. Now you have a white pencil here. It is a pastel pencil. So this can draw on dark paper, which is really cool. Then you have artist pencils here, HB and 2B. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know that I use these very often. HB is a medium darkness regular drawing pencil, and a 2B is a darker one. Now the watercolor pencils, you're going to notice, have kind of an octagon, or I can't even tell, stop sign feel to it. The regular pencil colors are round. They're just basic round. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to slide this over. Now when it comes to drawing, I sometimes use the entire sheet of paper, but sometimes I don't. If you don't, it gives it kind of a matted feeling, even though you didn't mat it. So what I'm going to do, and this is totally optional. I can't talk today. I want to use this box. And if you've ripped up your box and you don't want to use it or whatever, that's totally fine. But I'd like to use this. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my sketching pencils, the HB, and I'm going to draw my box. So now I have something to work in. I'm going to start off, I'm going to angle the paper just a touch. I'm going to start off with the basic shape of his face. Notice it is pretty much a circle cheek, circle mouth. So if we do that, I would do a large circle. Now I'm just sketching. I'm not pressing hard. Sketching means draw softly so you can erase if you mess up. Drawing is a whole different story. That's where you can put nice pressure down. So I'm going to draw a little bit darker than I normally would, so some of my lines may show through after we've erased and everything, but that's only so you can see my lines. So I've drawn a large face. It's very large. Now I'm going to draw, coming out of the bottom, an oval, and that's going to be his mouth. Above it, cheek, cheek. Now from this, we want to go ahead and draw the eyes. We're going to add the top line for the hat. It is basically a frown. In between this cheek and the hairline, we need an eye, and an eyebrow. Let's do another eye and an eyebrow. Now this is a pencil drawing. So if it messes up, or if we find that the eyes are not in the right place, we can adjust him. That's the glory of sketching, not drawing. So let's go ahead and darken that cheek and this cheek. We're going to add a pupil and an iris. Now his pupil, which is the black part of the eye, is small, and it's got a glare in his eye. This one, let's go ahead and draw another oval. This one's going to kind of come off the edge of the curve. Another pupil and a glare. Now if you pretend that there is a line that just comes on down from the cheeks, you're going to have your nose. So we're going to skip a little spot and come down and back up. And let's give him a little grin line. Notice this one goes to the right, it curves to the right like a closed parentheses. So let's bring in a closed parentheses. Still looks a little funny, I know, don't worry. Let's give him a big smile that goes from this kind of towards the bottom of this line to the bottom of that line. Just a big smile. Now we're going to give him the inside of the mouth. So we're going to make a little loop. His tongue is a curve and a curve. See that? It's like hills, a hill and a hill behind it. So let's come kind of high up, make a hill and another hill. And then let's give him his bottom lip. Now that bottom lip does not connect to the actual smile line. We're going to come way down here and just bring it up like that. His head curves down. Sorry, I'm hitting my pencil case. Jumps out at the cheek. And then gently, subtly comes into the lip. Now this side is different. It's covered by his collar. So let's go ahead and draw that collar in. It is just kind of a curved triangle. So we're going to figure out about where we'd like that collar to go. There's no right or wrong on this. Wherever you put it is totally fine. We're going to have it come off to the edge of our blocks. So let's come on in. We want to connect it to under the head somewhere. Thicken it up by dropping down just a touch and curve it out. So you see how it's kind of a curvy triangle? Now this side, you can't see it because it's behind him. So we're just going to go off the page and let's close it off. And then we can finish this part of his head by curving it in. Now I'm going to tell you one thing already. I'm not digging the way this is angled out. So what we do when we make mistakes is we use our handy dandy erasers. I'm going to twist it up a little bit more. I think it's just angled a little too much. I think it needs to be more down like that. I definitely think that helped, which means I need to kind of tweak the mouth or the tongue. See, if you sketch it out, then you can tweak it to where it starts looking like the character. So now, what else do I need to adjust? Well, I feel like this area here and this area here are two different sizes. It's pretty obvious to the eye. This is about 2 of this. So if this is cut in half, it's only going to be to here. So let's fix this nose. Down and up. This is good, and this is good. So you see, starting to look like him even more. Now, if all these inside sketchy lines bother you, those circles and everything that are in there, you can erase them now. We've already got the basic drawing down. I know my students are usually like, I don't like those lines, they're too confusing. So you can erase them now. We've got his basic shape going on. So let's add his hat. Right here, we're going to just jump up a touch. We're going to give a bit of a smile. And the same, if you pretend that there's a line crossing his face, put your pencil back down and bring it up. You know, I'm not liking this eye. I think it needs to be dropped down a touch. And now's the time to do it. Drop it down. Look at what you're drawing. Pay attention if something needs to be adjusted or not. Now's the time to do it. I think that's better. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the hat. We're going to do this curve. So I'm going to just jump up here above where the top of the head is. Jump up here, up, down, and out. Do it again. Up, down, and out. Let's close off the top hat part of his hat. Make sure it's wide enough to fit his head in there. And let's draw a curved line. And that's going to be the orange ribbon. Oh, I'm sorry. Curved line. And that'll be the orange ribbon. Let's come on down. I'm going to give him a suit. So let's do the a V down here. Below it, if you have room, is part of a circle. See, now I'm shifting over to this drawing and this drawing because this is our inspiration piece right here. But as you can see, the drawing has stretched further down. So now we're going to need to shift to here and see what he's wearing. So right here is the best picture I find for the chest area. We're going to do the, I guess it's the collar of the jacket. We're going to come down and down. Side V, and angle it in, angle it in. And there's Jiminy. Pretty cute, isn't he? So now let's tweak him a little more, get him just the way you want him. Sketch him out. Erase any lines you don't want. And we're ready for the next part. So here I'm going to stop this video, and you'll need to move on to the next video, which is the fill-in. Hopefully you're happy with your little Jiminy. If you need to tweak him any, you are more than welcome to. So go ahead and adjust him a little bit while you have a little break, and I'll see you for the fill-in.